You may not have noticed, but Prime Video is making some improvements. It's still too hard to find good movies to watch, which is why I keep putting out videos like this one. Today, I want to recommend 10 flicks I found buried in the depths of Prime Video. 10 totally awesome hidden gem movies I would have been beyond pumped to discover in a video store 20 years ago. You remember those?
Actually, I should back it up a few.
This list features a wild spy movie written and directed by Alan Ritchson, who plays Jack Reacher on Prime, Monica Bellucci's spiciest action flick, MMA fighter Keith Jardine directed a trippy serial killer flick that came out earlier this year. We've also got an underrated Nicolas Cage heist movie.
Voll cool.
And my top pick on this list comes to Prime later in November, so we'll save that for the end. We're going to start this list off with 2 low-budget bangers, and even though they're fairly recent releases, they feel like good old-fashioned guy movies.
Unbelievable.
The first one being Dark Web, Cicada 3301. I know that's a weird name. It's a weirder movie. It's kind of a bro spy flick, a lot of tongue-in-cheek humor. I found it to be pretty funny, even though it's a bit juvenile. There's almost no one recognizable in this movie, except for Alan Ritchson, who plays Jack Reacher on Prime Video. Believe it or not, he wrote and directed this movie, and you can kind of tell.
Jesus, Carver, take it down a notch. Just take it down a notch.
I thought you said I was bad cop.
No, I said you are a bad cop.
I still thoroughly enjoyed it. He even has quite a bit of fun at his own expense at this movie. Don't go into this expecting top-notch acting or even a mind-blowing story, but if you just want kind of a wild, fun time, check the trailer out for this movie first. If you're into it, I can tell you the movie actually delivers. There are a lot of spy movies done at this budget level that go for a similar vibe that just are not worth watching at all. I was pleasantly surprised by this one.
I mean, I could go on and on and on and on.
Such a dick.
And the next low-budget banger will appeal to a similar audience. It just came out this year and was written and directed by ex-MMA fighter Keith Jardine. It's titled Kill Me Again.
You see my friend?
No.
This movie almost exclusively takes place in a small diner. It's called The Killer Cafe, cafe with a K, and I point that out because that's the type of movie you're getting into. The Midnight Mangler is on the loose. There's a serial killer. He's actually the main character of the movie, and he gets trapped in a time loop where he keeps coming back into this same diner over and over again, interacting with the same people over and over again. So it's a serial killer Groundhog Day flick.
Hey, could you turn that up?
Is everything okay?
You ever get deja vu?
Every night.
Hey, could you turn that up?
No! Kill Me Again does just enough to set itself apart. I was actually kind of itching and waiting for something a little different when watching this movie because it was so much of a Groundhog Day flick. Ultimately, this movie delivered. I thought it went in some surprising directions. It also happens to feature some other actors I really like, so this is a movie kind of made for me. That said though, there are a lot of turds out there, movies that are a lot like Kill Me Again, yet this one I found to be just thoroughly entertaining.
I just came to say hi and to get to know you a little bit. Why? I'm gonna kill you. Oh, shoot. The food's here.
Hang with me on this next one for a second. It's not going to sound like it's you, but this is definitely for horror movie fans. Tenebrae is a classic Italian horror film. It fits into a very specific genre. There's quite a bit of cheese associated with it. Hell, even the English-speaking actors, this movie's in English, their lines are dubbed. It's got a bizarre vibe, but this is the type of movie you would typically only see available on AMC Plus or Shudder subscriptions. They've got it included with Prime for a limited time, and it's one of the better movies directed by Dario Argento. These Italian flicks, they've got like a specific vibe to them, almost similar to the vibe David Lynch brought to the show Twin Peaks. It's bizarre, it's a little bit off. At its heart, it's just a slasher flick. While it is both raunchy and bloody, I didn't find it excessively disturbing, but Tenebrae was originally banned in a bunch of countries, including the UK. Not only is this a fun one, It's also pretty effing wild. Another wild one, though, is a French flick that stars Vincent Cassel and Monica Bellucci. Believe it or not, this movie also predates The Matrix, even though it has some real wild Matrixy vibes. It's titled Dobermann. Now, I'm a big fan of Vincent Cassel and Monica Bellucci. I've seen a lot of the movies that they've done together. Somehow, this one escaped me. Maybe it never really got a big US release. It's hiding out on Prime Video right now, and man, was this kind of a cool throwback 90s flick. They're bank robbers, they're all clad in leather, it's very dated, it looks like pre-Matrix kind of stuff, and the movie's got a wild vibe to it, almost a Trainspotting vibe at times, kind of mixed with The Matrix. And again, this is 1997. I mean, there's an entire sequence that takes place in a drag queen club, but it's surprisingly a major theme in Dobermann. Surprising for 1997 and a big action movie like this. But if you like those raunchier, edgier action flicks, this was a kind of incredible discovery for me recently. Now, my favorite movie on this list, I'm going to mention at the very end, not just because it's my number one pick, but it's not available on Prime Video until November 19th. Before we get to all of my favorite picks, though, I did want to point out a comedy that came out this past year. A lot of people missed it, even though Let's Start a Cult is loaded with a bunch of stand-up comedians I really enjoy.
Why do you think you're ready to transcend?
I mean, because it sounds sick, honestly.
Stavros Halkias is really the lead in this movie. He plays kind of a knucklehead that decides he can get ahead in life if he starts a cult. Something I'm sure a lot of people have thought of. The plot to this movie, I don't think really matters that much at all. Yes, there's a lot of cult humor and jokes. That's to be expected, but I thought the dialogue was just really clever and sharp. I would say if you're a fan of the Shane Gillis show Tires, which Stavros Halkias also stars in, I think you'll get a real kick, again, out of the dialogue in Let's Start a Cult.
No brothers barging on your privacy.
Stop eating off! It's time to go to work!
No Uncle Aaron stuffing you in a sleeping bag, not letting your ass out, and you're like screaming like,
Help me!
Believe it or not, actor Eric Bana, kind of at the height of his acting career, he was up to some dangerous backroad racing in the first car he had as a 16-year-old and suffered a catastrophic wreck. There's a documentary all about it titled Love the Beast, and I'm not recommending this movie for Eric Bana fans, although if you're a fan of his, I think you'll get a kick out of this movie. If you're a car person or have ever had a connection with a car, even if it was just your first car as a teenager, maybe you don't care about the current car you have now, but if you've ever experienced like the slightest bond with a vehicle, you've got to see Love the Beast. It's kind of an incredible story, or at least it's very well told in this documentary. Like his connection with this car, everything it means to him. There's a lot of heart in the documentary, but it also features that catastrophic crash, the aftermath. There's kind of a lot going on in this documentary, and I've never heard anyone mention this thing before. Also, another movie just recently added back to Prime Video is a Nicolas Cage heist flick that also stars Elijah Wood. It's titled The Trust.
So, what do you want to do? You want me to rob a drug dealer for you?
Rob a drug dealer? Hallo?
Ja, hallo. Einen, der sofort.
Der Typ muss ein Bankräuber sein oder sowas.
Ja, voll cool.
In this movie, they play a couple of Las Vegas city cops, a couple of inept ones, if I'm being honest. They stumble across a stash house, and rather than report it, they decide they're gonna try to cobble together their skills as policemen to pull off their first heist. Now, this movie is quite funny, really, until the heist starts, and then there's kind of a tone shift. There's some twists, and I found this movie to be pretty refreshing. Unless you've been under a rock, you've probably noticed Nicolas Cage does a lot of terrible movies. I've even done videos on some of the worst ones he's done. This one stands out as one of those little gems that didn't get all the praise that his best movies get, and it's also not the turd that a lot of the stuff he makes is. It's somewhere in between, and for a heist movie fan, I found this thing to be tons of fun.
You just reached for my phone?
Yes, I did.
In a suspicious manner?
No, I wasn't, I swear.
That would suggest that you're here under the auspice of illegal activity.
I'll give you $100.
Okay.
All right.
But if you are a fellow Nicolas Cage fan, go check out my t-shirt shop at darrenvandam.com/shop. Not only do we have a couple of Cage-inspired designs over there, we've also got all these great designs and this resilient alien shirt. The shirts are ridiculously soft. I've put this one through I don't know how many washes. They hold up. They stay jet black without getting faded. I will say, they are kind of a fitted design, so if you like a snug t-shirt, they're great. If you like them a little looser, consider going a size up. This is a great way to help support the show and also, show people the movies that you love.
We're running out of time here.
Maybe we are too late.
But one of my favorite films of 2025 so far is already included with Prime, and hardly anybody noticed. It's titled Last Breath. This is the true story of a deep-sea diver whose tether snaps, his lifeline, his oxygen, all of that snaps, and he's trapped hundreds of feet on the ocean floor during a massive storm. Now, before anything bad happens, this movie shows you just how difficult and dangerous this job is of going down and making repairs to equipment on the ocean floor. A job most of us have probably never even thought about, but then when disaster strikes, this entire movie, even though it's got a short runtime, it becomes a race to save this guy. It is one long, tense action sequence. It's really well directed. I love movies like this based on true events. There are so many done that are so far of a departure. This one apparently is pretty close to accurate, and it is harrowing stuff. Again, one of my favorite movies of 2025 so far. And then before we get to that number one selection on this list, the movie getting added to Prime on November 19th, I do want to point out that they just added Legend.
Ugly. I hate it. Good. You go first. Why always me? Go.
This is one of the most incredible fantasy movies ever created, certainly to come out of the 1980s. It's directed by Ridley Scott, features breathtaking cinematography. I mean, unbelievable. There's not been a movie that looks anything like Legend made since. The movie itself looks like concept art for a massive fantasy movie, and everything's in camera. There's no CGI in Legend. But you've got a young Tom Cruise fighting all kinds of goblins and creatures and swamp witches. But you've also got Tim Curry, like one of the most legendary villains of all time, in one of the most legendary costumes of all time. My goodness, Tim Curry is covered head to toe in prosthetics, yet somehow his performance comes through as the devil or the darkness. In this movie, again, just a visual stunner. You could literally mute this movie, put on music. Again, breathtaking movie. So I'm happy to find it popping up on streaming services. And then on November 19th, they're adding The Iron Claw. The true story of the Von Erich brothers, professional wrestlers who were huge in the 80s. They were real brothers. And the movie kind of chronicles their careers in and out of the ring. Now, I thought the movie was incredible. It is emotionally devastating, though. The stuff that happened to these guys is really kind of hard to take, and the movie itself is very sad as a result, but Zac Efron is giving probably a career-best performance in this movie. Really heavy stuff. And even though the story seems fairly accurate, I have heard Kevin Von Erich on recent podcasts say that the movie makes it look like his father was really responsible for everything. His story was that his father was actually really great, yet all this other stuff, is true. This one too, top-notch cinematography, just an amazing movie. Again, it is upsetting, so watch it, when you're in the right mood for it. But here's the list recap. Hopefully you found something good to watch off of this list you've never heard of before. If so, leave the video a like. It is helpful, believe it or not. And if you want future recommendations, I put videos like this out once or twice a week, so make sure you've clicked that subscribe button. But I'll keep making these videos as long as y'all keep watching them. Thanks for watching this Prime Video episode, and you will see me on the next one.